the new god of fire, the new gods of fire, the new god of fire, the new goddess of fire, the new goddesses of fire, the new goddess of fire, the old god of fire, the old gods of fire, the old god of fire, the old goddess of fire, the old goddesses of fire, the old goddess of fire, the greater god of fire, the greater gods of fire, the greater god of fire, the greater goddess of fire, the greater goddesses of fire, the greater goddess of fire, the lesser god of fire, the lesser gods of fire, the lesser god of fire, the lesser goddess of fire, the lesser goddesses of fire, the lesser goddess of fire, the higher god of fire, the higher gods of fire, the higher god of fire, the higher goddess of fire, the higher goddesses of fire, the higher goddess of fire, the lower god of fire, the lower gods of fire, the lower god of fire, the lower goddess of fire, the lower goddesses of fire, the lower goddess of fire, the greater spirit of fire, the greater spirits of fire, the greater spirit of fire, the lesser spirit of fire, the lesser spirits of fire, the lesser spirit of fire, the higher spirit of fire, the higher spirits of fire, the higher spirit of fire, the lower spirit of fire, the lower spirits of fire, the lower spirit of fire, the major god of fire, the major gods of fire, the major god of fire, the major goddess of fire, the major goddesses of fire, the major goddess of fire, the minor god of fire, the minor gods of fire, the minor god of fire, the minor goddess of fire, the minor goddesses of fire, the minor goddess of fire, the superior god of fire, the superior gods of fire, the superior god of fire, the superior goddess of fire, the superior goddesses of fire, the superior goddess of fire, the inferior god of fire, the inferior gods of fire, the inferior god of fire, the inferior goddess of fire, the inferior goddesses of fire, the inferior goddess of fire, the ancestor god of fire, the ancestor gods of fire, the ancestor god of fire, the ancestor goddess of fire, the ancestor goddesses of fire, the ancestor goddess of fire, the ascendant god of fire, the ascendant gods of fire, the ascendant god of fire, the ascendant goddess of fire, the ascendant goddesses of fire, the ascendant goddess of fire, the descendant god of fire, the descendant gods of fire, the descendant god of fire, the descendant goddess of fire, the descendant goddesses of fire, the descendant goddess of fire, the transcendent god of fire, the transcendent gods of fire, the transcendent god of fire, the transcendent goddess of fire, the transcendent goddesses of fire, the transcendent goddess of fire, the past god of fire, the past gods of fire, the past god of fire, the past goddess of fire, the past goddesses of fire, the past goddess of fire, the present god of fire, the present gods of fire, the present god of fire, the present goddess of fire, the present goddesses of fire, the present goddess of fire, the future god of fire, the future gods of fire, the future god of fire, the future goddess of fire, the future goddesses of fire, the future goddess of fire, the authentic god of fire, the authentic gods of fire, the authentic god of fire, the authentic goddess of fire, the authentic goddesses of fire, the authentic goddess of fire, the synthetic god of fire, the synthetic gods of fire, the synthetic god of fire, the synthetic goddess of fire, the synthetic goddesses of fire, the synthetic goddess of fire, the progressive god of fire, the progressive gods of fire, the progressive god of fire, the progressive goddess of fire, the progressive goddesses of fire, the progressive goddess of fire, the regressive god of fire, the regressive gods of fire, the regressive god of fire, the regressive goddess of fire, the regressive goddesses of fire, the regressive goddess of fire, the ordinary god of fire, the ordinary gods of fire, the ordinary god of fire, the ordinary goddess of fire, the ordinary goddesses of fire, the ordinary goddess of fire, the extraordinary god of fire, the extraordinary gods of fire, the extraordinary god of fire, the extraordinary goddess of fire, the extraordinary goddesses of fire, the extraordinary goddess of fire, the static god of fire, the static gods of fire, the static god of fire, the static goddess of fire, the static goddesses of fire, the static goddess of fire, the dynamic god of fire, the dynamic gods of fire, the dynamic god of fire, the dynamic goddess of fire, the dynamic goddesses of fire, the dynamic goddess of fire, the land god of fire, the land gods of fire, the land god of fire, the land goddess of fire, the land goddesses of fire, the land goddess of fire, the sea god of fire, the sea gods of fire, the sea god of fire, the sea goddess of fire, the sea goddesses of fire, the sea goddess of fire, the sky god of fire, the sky gods of fire, the sky god of fire, the sky goddess of fire, the sky goddesses of fire, the sky goddess of fire, the god of fire, the gods of fire, the god of fire, the goddess of fire, the goddesses of fire, the goddess of fire, the half god of fire, the half gods of fire, the half god of fire, the half goddess of fire, the half goddesses of fire, the half goddess of fire, the vessel of fire, the vessels of fire, the vessel of fire, the name of fire, the names of fire, the name of fire, the person of fire, the persons of fire, the person of fire, the persona of fire, the personas of fire, the persona of fire, the personage of fire, the personages of fire, the personage of fire, the personality of fire, the personalities of fire, the personality of fire, the personification of fire, the personifications of fire, the personification of fire, the image of fire, the images of fire, the image of fire, the imagination of fire, the imaginations of fire, the imagination of fire, the belief of fire, the beliefs of fire, the belief of fire, the thought of fire, the thoughts of fire, the thought of fire, the word of fire, the words of fire, the word of fire, the action of fire, the actions of fire, the action of fire, the reaction of fire, the reactions of fire, the reaction of fire, the feeling of fire, the feelings of fire, the feeling of fire, the situation of fire, the situations of fire, the situation of fire, the circumstance of fire, the circumstances of fire, the circumstance of fire, the environment of fire, the environments of fire, the environment of fire, the relationship of fire, the relationships of fire, the relationship of fire, the number of fire, the numbers of fire, the number of fire, the formula of fire, the formulas of fire, the formula of fire, the equation of fire, the equations of fire, the equation of fire, the theory of fire, the theories of fire, the theory of fire, the symbol of fire, the symbols of fire, the symbol of fire, the color of fire, the colors of fire, the color of fire, the thing of fire, the things of fire, the thing of fire, the way of fire, the ways of fire, the way of fire, the place of fire, the places of fire, the place of fire, the time of fire, the times of fire, the time of fire, the event of fire, The events of fire. The event of fire. The result of fire. The results of fire. The result of fire. The crown of fire. The crowns of fire. The crown of fire. The throne of fire. The thrones of fire. The throne of fire. The fire king. The fire kings. The fire kingdom. The fire kingdoms. The fire king subject. The fire king subjects. The fire king's dominion. The fire king's dominions. The kingdom of fire. The kingdoms of fire. The kingdom of fire. The fire queen. The fire queens. The fire queendom. The fire queendoms. The fire queen subject. The fire queen subjects. The fire queen's dominion. The fire queen's dominions. The queendom of fire. The queendoms of fire. The queendom of fire. The fire prince. The fire princes. The fire princedom. The fire princedoms. The fire prince's subject. The fire prince's subjects. The fire prince's dominion. The fire prince's dominions. The princedom of fire. The princedoms of fire. The princedom of fire. The fire princess. The fire princesses. The fire princessdom. The fire princessdoms. The fire princess's subject. The fire princess's subjects. The fire princess's dominion. The fire princess's dominions. The princessdom of fire. The princessdoms of fire. The princessdom of fire. The lord of fire. The lords of fire. The lord of fire. The lordess of fire. The lordesses of fire. The lordess of fire. The priest of fire. The priests of fire. The priest of fire. The priestess of fire. The priestesses of fire. The priestess of fire. The ritual of fire. The rituals of fire. The ritual of fire. The shrine of fire. The shrines of fire. The shrine of fire. The temple of fire. The temples of fire. The temple of fire. The leader of fire. The leaders of fire. The leader of fire. The follower of fire. The followers of fire. The follower of fire. The natural substance of fire. The natural substances of fire. The natural substance of fire. The supernatural substance of fire. The supernatural substances of fire. The supernatural substance of fire. The temporal substance of fire. The temporal substances of fire. The temporal substance of fire. The spiritual substance of fire. The spiritual substances of fire. The spiritual substance of fire. The natural form of fire. The natural forms of fire. The natural form of fire. The supernatural form of fire. The supernatural forms of fire. The supernatural form of fire. The temporal form of fire. The temporal forms of fire. The temporal form of fire. The spiritual form of fire. The spiritual forms of fire. The spiritual form of fire. The age of fire. The ages of fire. The age of fire. The era of fire. The eras of fire. The era of fire. The awakener of fire. The awakeners of fire. The awakener of fire. The awakening of fire. The awakenings of fire. The awakening of fire. The realm of fire. The realms of fire. The realm of fire. The dimension of fire. The dimensions of fire. The dimension of fire. The zone of fire. The zones of fire. The zone of fire. The frequency of fire. The frequencies of fire. The frequency of fire. The century of fire. The centuries of fire. The century of fire. The millennium of fire. The millenniums of fire. The millennium of fire. The purpose of fire. The purposes of fire. The purpose of fire. The meaning of fire. The meanings of fire. The meaning of fire. The culture of fire. The cultures of fire. The culture of fire. The demonstrator of fire. The demonstrators of fire. The demonstrator of fire. The demonstration of fire. the demonstrations of fire, the demonstration of fire, the manifester of fire, the manifestors of fire, the manifester of fire, the manifestation of fire, the manifestations of fire, the manifestation of fire, the presence of fire, the presences of fire, the presence of fire, the glow of fire, the glows of fire, the glow of fire, the goal of fire, the goals of fire, the goal of fire, the plan of fire, the plans of fire, the plan of fire, the book of fire, the books of fire, the book of fire, the philosopher of fire, the philosophers of fire, the philosopher of fire, the philosophy of fire, the philosophies of fire, the philosophy of fire, the releaser of fire, the releasers of fire, the releaser of fire, the release of fire, the releases of fire, the release of fire, the variable of fire, the variables of fire, the variable of fire, the cause of fire, the causes of fire, the cause of fire, the effect of fire, the effects of fire, the effect of fire, the journey of fire, the journeys of fire, the journey of fire, the emergence of fire, the emergences of fire, the emergence of fire, the source of fire, the sources of fire, the source of fire, the originator of fire, the originators of fire, the originator of fire, the origin of fire, the origins of fire, the origin of fire, the forefather of fire, the forefathers of fire, the forefather of fire, the foremother of fire, the foremothers of fire, the foremother of fire, the ancestor of fire, the ancestors of fire, the ancestor of fire, the descendant of fire, the descendants of fire, the descendant of fire, the lineage of fire, the lineages of fire, the lineage of fire, the heritage of fire, the heritages of fire, the heritage of fire, the heir of fire, the heirs of fire, the heir of fire, the co-heir of fire, the co-heirs of fire, the co-heir of fire, the joint heir of fire, the joint heirs of fire, the joint heir of fire, the dynasty of fire, the dynasties of fire, the dynasty of fire, the force of fire, the forces of fire, the force of fire, the law of fire, the laws of fire, the law of fire, the pact of fire, the pacts of fire, the pact of fire, the game of fire, the games of fire, the game of fire, the mask of fire, the masks of fire, the mask of fire, the armor of fire, the armors of fire, the armor of fire, the sword of fire, the swords of fire, the sword of fire, the shield of fire, the shields of fire, the shield of fire, the force shield of fire, the force shields of fire, the force shield of fire, the armored force shield of fire, the armored force shields of fire, the armored force shield of fire, the champion of fire, the champions of fire, the champion of fire, the guardian of fire, the guardians of fire, the guardian of fire, the defender of fire, the defenders of fire, the defender of fire, the protector of fire, the protectors of fire, the protector of fire, the chant of fire, the chants of fire, the chant of fire, the shape of fire, the shapes of fire, the shape of fire, the cube of fire, the cubes of fire, the cube of fire, the cuboid of fire, the cuboids of fire, the cuboid of fire, the sphere of fire, the spheres of fire, the sphere of fire, the spheroid of fire, the spheroids of fire, the spheroid of fire, the prism of fire, the prisms of fire, the prism of fire, the pyramid of fire, the pyramids of fire, the pyramid of fire, the cylinder of fire, the cylinders of fire, the cylinder of fire, the cone of fire, the cones of fire, the cone of fire, the triangle of fire, the triangles of fire, the triangle of fire, the circle of fire, the circles of fire, the circle of fire, the semicircle of fire, the semicircles of fire, the semicircle of fire, the square of fire, the squares of fire, the square of fire, the rectangle of fire, the rectangles of fire, the rectangle of fire, the parallelogram of fire, the parallelograms of fire, the parallelogram of fire, the rhombus of fire, the rhombuses of fire, the rhombus of fire, the trapezoid of fire, the trapezoids of fire, the trapezoid of fire, the polygon of fire, the polygons of fire, the polygon of fire, the pentagon of fire, the pentagons of fire, the pentagon of fire, the hexagon of fire, the hexagons of fire, the hexagon of fire, the septagon of fire, the septagons of fire, the septagon of fire, the octagon of fire, the octagons of fire, the octagon of fire, the nonagon of fire, the nonagons of fire, the nonagon of fire, the decagon of fire, the decagons of fire, the decagon of fire, the evolution of fire, the evolutions of fire, the evolution of fire, the revolution of fire, the revolutions of fire, the revolution of fire, the elemental art of fire, the elemental arts of fire, the elemental art of fire, the elemental science of fire, the elemental sciences of fire, the elemental science of fire, the elemental principle of fire, the elemental principles of fire, the elemental principle of fire, the elemental technology of fire, the elemental technologies of fire, the elemental technology of fire, the low elemental art of fire, the low elemental arts of fire, the low elemental art of fire, the low elemental science of fire, the low elemental sciences of fire, the low elemental science of fire, the low elemental principle of fire, the low elemental principles of fire, the low elemental principle of fire, the low elemental technology of fire, the low elemental technologies of fire, the low elemental technology of fire, the high elemental art of fire, the high elemental arts of fire, the high elemental art of fire, the high elemental science of fire, the high elemental sciences of fire, the high elemental science of fire, the high elemental principle of fire, the high elemental principles of fire, the high elemental principle of fire, the high elemental technology of fire, the high elemental technologies of fire, the high elemental technology of fire, the agent of fire, the agents of fire, the agent of fire, the agency of fire, the agencies of fire, the agency of fire, the amplifier of fire, the amplifiers of fire, the amplifier of fire, the amplification of fire, the amplifications of fire, the amplification of fire, the enhancer of fire, the enhancers of fire, the enhancer of fire, the enhancement of fire, the enhancements of fire, the enhancement of fire, the magnifier of fire, the magnifiers of fire, the magnifier of fire, the magnification of fire, the magnifications of fire, the magnification of fire, the influencer of fire, the influencers of fire, the influencer of fire, the influence of fire, the influences of fire, the influence of fire, the emanator of fire, the emanators of fire, the emanator of fire, the emanation of fire, the emanations of fire, the emanation of fire, the converger of fire, the convergers of fire, the converger of fire, the convergence of fire, the convergences of fire, the convergence of fire, the aura of fire, the auras of fire, the aura of fire, the impression of fire, the impressions of fire, the impression of fire, the intelligence of fire, the intelligences of fire, the intelligence of fire, the sophistication of fire, the sophistications of fire, the sophistication of fire, the genius of fire, the geniuses of fire, the genius of fire, the polymath of fire, the polymaths of fire, the polymath of fire, the psychic of fire, the psychics of fire, the psychic of fire, the knowledge of fire, the knowledges of fire, the knowledge of fire, the understanding of fire, the understandings of fire, the understanding of fire, the wisdom of fire, the wisdoms of fire, the wisdom of fire, the secret of fire, the secrets of fire, the secret of fire, the mystery of fire, the mysteries of fire, the mystery of fire, the revelation of fire, the revelations of fire, the revelation of fire, the tactic of fire, the tactics of fire, the tactic of fire, the strategy of fire, the strategies of fire, the strategy of fire, the strength of fire, the strengths of fire, the strength of fire, the might of fire, the might of fire, the might of fire, the power of fire, the powers of fire, the power of fire, the authority of fire, the authorities of fire, the authority of fire, the dominion of fire, the dominions of fire, the dominion of fire, the rhythm of fire, the rhythms of fire, the rhythm of fire, the melody of fire, the melodies of fire, the melody of fire, the music of fire, the musics of fire, the music of fire, the lyric of fire, the lyrics of fire, the lyric of fire, the song of fire, the songs of fire, the song of fire, the dance of fire, the dances of fire, the dance of fire, the spirit of fire, the spirits of fire, the spirit of fire, the soul of fire, the souls of fire, the soul of fire, the body of fire, the bodies of fire, the body of fire, the mark of fire, the marks of fire, the mark of fire, the promise of fire, the promises of fire, the promise of fire, the visionary of fire, the visionaries of fire, the visionary of fire, the vision of fire, the visions of fire, the vision of fire, the picture of fire, the pictures of fire, the picture of fire, the sound of fire, the sounds of fire, the sound of fire, the tongue of fire, the tongues of fire, the tongue of fire, the language of fire, the languages of fire, the language of fire, the communication of fire, the communications of fire, the communication of fire, the people of fire, the peoples of fire, the people of fire, the society of fire, the societies of fire, the society of fire, the fortress of fire, the fortresses of fire, the fortress of fire, the government of fire, the governments of fire, the government of fire, the city of fire, the cities of fire, the city of fire, the nation of fire, the nations of fire, the nation of fire, the civilization of fire, the civilizations of fire, the civilization of fire, the world of fire, the worlds of fire, the world of fire,